Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Swiswiki. Coming up, we talanoa on the 16 days of activism against violence against women and girls. Also, Fiji's military presents a traditional apology to the Great Council of Chiefs.
Will it help to stop the coup culture? As they said, it will. That is the big question.
And Sevens returns to Dubai this weekend, but in a very new format. This week marked the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls, as well as the global launch of the 16 Days of Activism Against Violence Against Women and Girls. Marches were held in Fiji as part of the launch. I spoke with Fiji Women's Crisis Centre's legal manager, Iliesa Tora.
Yes. This year we actually had people coming together, to join us for the call for change. We were joined by women's groups, communities that we work with, members of our committees against violence against women. We were joined by stakeholders that we work with. There were women in all their diversities that joined, children and our male allies as well. We saw that more people are joining us now for marches and rallies were held on that day.
How many would you say turned up to the marches?
Well, there were hundreds of people that came together because we had a march here in Suva. There was a march that our Nandi Center had held in Nandi, and our Bar Center held one for Trumba Town.
Violence against women is an ongoing problem, but not just in Fiji. It's present in other Pacific countries as well. What's the current state of affairs as far as numbers go?
Well, we still see the continuation of violence against women and girls in Fiji. Fiji, as you know, has one of the highest, one of the high prevalence rates of violence against women and girls. So we still see cases coming through our counseling section of, to do with domestic violence, issues such as marital rape, child sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and so on.
Has there been any improvement over the years?
Well, we see that, the numbers, the state of things it has not improved. That's what we're seeing because we continue to see, similar numbers coming in as well. And most of it seems to be, cases of domestic violence.
Right. And what's the government's response to all of this? Has there been much political will to truly address the issue, or are politicians just paying lip service to the problems?
In Fiji, we have the National Action Prevention Plan against violence against women and girls. So that's a very good policy document. We also have the Country Gender Assessment document, that's available for government ministries and agencies to use and refer to. Within our parliament, there's a lot of talk about the 16 days campaign, but we continue to call on our, political leaders. We continue to call on all our institutions from law enforcement and government, communities and faith leaders to, take that decisive step to uphold accountability, strengthen survivor-centered responses, and also end impunity when it comes to violence against women and girls.
In all of the work that your organization has been doing, what have you found that actually works?
For us, we find that, you have to listen to the experiences of women, the lived realities of women, and from there you base your strategies on. For us, that's what we use for our work.
In the region, there's a lot of societal and religious pressure to keep families together. Do you find that helpful or problematic when it comes to violent relationships?
For us, when women access our services, they want the violence to stop. So we're hearing a lot of conversations around keeping the family together. But, for women, the home is actually one of the most dangerous places. Because of domestic violence. It happens within the home. So, we always call on, faith leaders as well and communities to, ensure that perpetrators are held accountable and, to also, see survivor-centered responses
As we round off the year, Miliana, as it gets closer to Christmas and New Year's, what's your message to women who are finding it difficult to leave violent relationships?
Well, for women who are living in violent relationships, our message to them is that they're not alone. In Fiji, we have Fiji Women's Crisis Center. They can come in for counseling. It's free, it's non-judgmental, they can come in and see our counselors, get the support that they need. And, it's not their fault. It's not the women's fault. The violence and the abuse that they're going through, and we must always hold the perpetrators accountable.
And do you have any message for our Pacific men out there?
Yes, for the men out there, they need to hold other men accountable as well. When they hear sexist jokes, or even, when they see another man beating his wife or his partner, they should step in and hold that man accountable. And, refer the survivor to services that are survivor-centered and, that can help the woman and support the women. In Fiji, here we have the Fiji Women's Crisis Center. They can reach out to the Fiji Women's Crisis Center and refer survivors. They can also, call the National Toll-Free Domestic Violence Helpline, which is 1560, that the Crisis Center also runs as well.
Fiji's military this week presented a traditional apology to the country's high chiefs for its role in past political turmoil. The apology, or mataninga sau, was offered to the Great Council of Chiefs as part of the military's commitment to national reconciliation. Fiji has had 4 coups since gaining independence in 1970, 2 in 1987, 1 in 2000 and the last in 2006. Margot Staunton has more.
The military offered the traditional apology to the apex i toke body at the Queen Elizabeth Barracks in Suva on Wednesday. A tambua, or sperm whale tooth, was presented to GCC member, High Chief and former opposition leader Ro Te Mumu Kepa. Ro Te Mumu reportedly told local media the army should never be given the chance to shake the nation again. Ahead of the ceremony, Fiji's military commander, Major General Johnny Kolonawai, said that the army had diverged from its true purpose and values. An eminent Fijian academic, distinguished Professor Stephen Ratuva of Canterbury University, agreed.
Since 1987, the military has actually strayed away from its professional pathway and has become a political player, intervening in politics and in civilian life, and that's been destructive.
Professor Ratuva says while Fiji's high chiefs did not oppose the first 3 coups, their support was not unanimous. The 2006 coup, led by former Prime Minister Franklin Bainimarama, was driven by conflict between the military and the elected government of the late Prime Minister Licenia Ngarase. Mr Bainimarama was also responsible for abolishing the GCC.
In the 1987 coup and 2000 as well, there was a close alliance between them. In the 2006 coup, it was different. That's a result of Bainimarama basically saying that the Great Council of Chiefs should go and bring homebrew under the mango tree, and then he tried to eliminate him from Fiji's political life.
Professor Ratuva says the mataninga sau is highly significant in the cultural context.
The ceremonial apology is one way of engaging with conflict and broken relationships in the past. So this is where it's coming from. They're trying to use the cultural mechanism of peace building and conflict resolution to move forward, because institution to institution mechanism doesn't exist.
He says the traditional reconciliation space is akin to restorative justice and works well in communities. However, he questions what the future holds.
Will it help to stop the coup culture? As they said, it will. That is the big question, because there are all kinds of political forces at play, not just the military and the Great Council of Chiefs. There are political parties, there are political groupings, there are, of course, the socioeconomic dynamics of things, and a lot of these things do contribute to instability.
Fiji's first Indo-Fijian Prime Minister, Mahendra Chaudhry, held hostage during George Speight's 2006 coup, questions the validity of the apology.
Why apologize to them for the coups of 87 and 2000, because GCC fully supported those coups. They were behind it.
George Speight led a racially motivated armed takeover of the government and held Mr Chaudhry and his government hostage for 56 days. Mr Chaudhry, who was held at gunpoint and knocked unconscious during the chaos, added,
The GCC of the time, they did not issue a statement opposing the coups or condemning the coups. What's this apology all about?
Successive Fijian governments have said the 4 coups have had a significant long-term impact on Fiji's economy, costing billions of dollars.
Sevens rugby returns to the international stage this weekend in Dubai, but a new format will only see the top 8 teams playing in the new HSBC 7 series, giving the participating teams a challenge. Fiji is the only Pacific Island country in the new look competition. Senior sports journalist Iliesa Tora joins me for a talanoa on that and what else is happening in Pacific sport. Bula Iliesa, Fiji's men and women's sevens teams will be in action in Dubai this weekend. What's the story there?
Yes, Bula Vinaka. Indeed, the 2 Fiji teams are ready for action at the Dubai tournament. The Dubai tournament kicks off the 2025-2026 HSBC 7 series. Fiji and as the defending champions in the men's competition will have a tough run. Will have a tough run. In all the teams that are in the competition at the moment have tough matches right throughout from the opening pool games. This is because, as stated, only 8 teams, only the top 8 teams in the world of sevens rugby are in this new format. And they have been pooled into 2 pools each, which means they play 3 pool games, and they go straight into the semi-finals. So the top 2 teams from each pool go straight into the semi-finals. That format just makes it very tough for both the Fiji teams and all the teams that are playing. But it makes Dubai an exciting tournament to watch over this weekend. And that's how the competition is going to be played out over the rest of the series. Fiji are playing USA in the women's game, and they play New Zealand and then France. The men's team will meet Argentina first up, then they have South Africa, and then they meet France early Sunday morning our time in their last pool game. So matches are happening from Saturday early into Sunday morning, and then Sunday night our time early into Monday morning when the finals will be finalized.
How come there are no other Pacific teams in the competition? And is there an opportunity for teams to be part of that top 8 event?
Yeah, unfortunately, at the moment, with World Rugby, minimizing the teams for this HSBC 7 series and only limiting it to the top 8 teams, the teams that are 9th to 12th now don't have a place in that series. So what they have done is that they've created 2 other competitions that will go hand in hand with the series. So to qualify for the series, you must come through these 2 other competitions that they have. The first one is the HSBC 7-3, which they call the HSBC 7-3, and that has Samoa in the women's competition in that tournament, and Samoa and Tonga in the men's competition. This will be conducted in Dubai from January 17th to the 18th next year. So these specific teams will compete against the others that are in that competition. We have Belgium, Canada, Colombia, Hong Kong, China, Italy, Madagascar. In the men's competition, you have Argentina, Colombia, Czechia, Mexico, Poland, and South Africa and Thailand in the women's competition. The top 2 teams from this competition will then go into what is called the HSBC 7-2. These 7-2 right now have 4 teams in each competition, the men's and the women. So the top 2 teams from this HSBC Sevens 3 will join the Sevens 2, and they will play over 3 tournaments from February to March next year. And the top 2 teams from there can then fight off for places in the top 8. So there's opportunity for Samoa and Tonga right now to be able to get back into the HSBC 7 series, but they will have to go through these 2 other competitions to qualify for that.
Moving to cricket, the PNG women's team have been in Thailand over the past week. What are they playing in and how are they doing?
The PNG Lewers, they are called, the PNG national women's team, have been in Thailand over the past week or so, playing in what was called the Quad Series, where they played 3 teams, and then now competing in the ICC Women's Emerging Nations Trophy competition. They have played 3 games earlier. They lost to UAE or United Arab Emirates. They played Thailand and lost to them, and then Uganda. But they played the Netherlands on Wednesday, and they managed to win. They scored 126 runs in 20 overs, and they beat the Netherlands by 8 runs, which gave them their first win in the tournament. And they have matches against Namibia and Tanzania remaining this week to see if they can qualify for the round of 6. So to qualify for that, the PNG team must win the 2 remaining matches and hope that other results will work for them throughout this week. So PNG Lewa out there are representing the Pacific, and 1 win out of 4 games so far, and there are hopes that they will be able to notch 2 more wins in their last 2 round-robin matches.
And finally, Ili, the new OFC Professional League is set to kick off in January next year. Can you take us through the new competition?
Definitely interesting days ahead for professional football in Oceania, New Zealand and the Pacific. In saying that, this is going to be the first ever professional league that is going to be played in our region for our island teams. And that also includes 2 New Zealand teams and 1 from Australia. The draws have come out, and the opening rounds of matches will be held at Eden Park in Auckland between January 17th to January 24 next year. And the opening rounds will see Vanuatu United FC play against Fiji's Bula FC on the opening day, on Saturday, 17th January. And on the same day, Auckland FC will take on South Island United in an all-New Zealand derby. Interesting to see how that game will turn out. And then after that, the matches, the pool matches will continue until Saturday the 24th. And then round 2 moves to Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea. And then round 3 moves to Australia. Round 4 then moves on to Honiara in March. And then round 5 in Suva, Fiji in April. And then the final round returns to Auckland, New Zealand in May, where then they will also have the playoffs and the final. So interesting that the OFC Professional League is now set to happen, and a lot of excitement as players are now being secured by the different clubs who are trying to get their squad together in preparation for the first round kickoff.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, Ruki Milwhana next time more.